You missed the best part
Yeah,
of this podcast.
In Adam's studio, you have to both start recording and turn on microphones, and it's sometimes a little overwhelming for those of us that are not professional audio maker people.
So let us know if our mics are on.
Yeah.
We will wait.
So the good news today is that Dylan and I are here. The bad news is that
Adam is sicker
not.
than you.
Yeah, Adam is sicker than me, which is why Adam's not here. But I'm still pretty sick. How are you feeling?
I'm okay.
Well, after being trapped in a strange small room with me for, this
We'll see
entire
how this
podcast
goes.
and all of today, we'll
Yeah.
see how you feel.
And most of every day.
Most of every day. Anyway, welcome to Byte Me Podcast. This is episode 114. I am your host today, Cliff Johnson.
And I'm the Dylan, and Adam is
He's dead.
absent.
Rip Adam.
Rip Adam.
I actually just saw a picture of him on Facebook. He looks worse for wear. He looks real tired.
Yeah.
He looks how I feel.
Everyone's sick.
Everyone, like literally, we were supposed to shoot videos today. They had to cancel it because not only were the people on our end that were supposed to shoot it sick, but so were the people on their end. Like our office mate is out because she's sick. Like it's in addition.
The plague is here.
In addition to the measles outbreak that is currently ripping through the Pacific Northwest, we also just all have colds.
The Black Plague is upon us.
The Black Plague is upon us. Anyway, we're going to talk about some video games today. Should we start with what we've been playing?
Sure.
Have you been playing things?
Yeah.
What did you play?
I'm actually going to take this time to talk about a board game.
That's something you play.
Because I think it's pretty impressive, and it's something that it's been out for a little while, but I think it's like kind of hit its stride, and a lot of people have been picking this game up and playing it. And if you go to game stores, like they have a bunch of them in stock because I think they're flying off the shelves, and I think they're more readily available because it was a game that was kickstarted with a fairly large goal that was met and exceeded, and they put out a really cool game. It's called Gloomhaven.
I've never heard of Gloomhaven.
And it's kind of like if you wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons and kind of didn't want the role-playing part of it, but still wanted the get into dungeons, do Diablo-style dungeons, loot stuff, get new equipment, and move through a campaign. So if that's what you wanted, but kind of didn't want the role-playing
it's like the
fun.
character creation.
Right, you still have a character that's going to gain experience and level up and get loot and
but it's more like you start a game
through
and
a
you're
campaign and story, but you don't necessarily have to role play.
Yeah, so you start a game, they give you a predetermined character, and you play as that character.
Yeah, so
that's kind of cool.
And there's a lot of cool things this game does, and it's a huge game. And it so far it plays pretty well, and I would say fairly quick. The downside is the setup time. There's a lot of setup time because you have a lot of tiles that you put together to build the dungeons and get the pieces together, and there's a ton of pieces.
Sure.
But the game starts off, you can choose one of 6 characters, and they come in little boxes, so they're essentially anonymous until you open the boxes. And there's 18 characters total, so 12 are to be remained unopened. But part of the game is getting a personal quest, and when you fulfill it, it allows you to open a box for a new character. So you get to retire one character and start a new one.
Interesting. And is it like D&D where it's a cooperative game?
It's a cooperative game. So yes, you and your up to 2-3 friends. It's meant for 2 to 4 players. You could play it by yourself, but you would want to control 2 characters. The game's not meant to be played as a solo person moving through dungeons. So you could play more characters if you want, or you can have 4 friends play it.
That sounds really fun. How much is it?
It's like a $140 retail game. Wow. The box is 32 pounds or 23 pounds or something like that when you buy it off the shelf.
That's a lot of wow.
But it has like 200 missions in it, and it comes with a cool like game board with stickers. So when you discover new locations, you get to put stickers on this board that show you the different places you can go, and they all have check marks, and you check them off, and you get to add cool stuff. And as you move through the campaign book, it opens new locations and tells you when you open this treasure chest, this is what is in it. So it's this whole world and story that you get to discover as you play. It's just
really fun.
It's a really huge experience in a board game. That price might scare people away, especially if you're not really a hardcore board gamer. Like, I don't think this is something for the casual player, but it's also something that someone might enjoy if they have someone to lead them through it that's not quite ready for something like Dungeons and Dragons, maybe.
Is it is like the learning curve on it pretty shallow?
It is. I think it was pretty easy, and it suggests the playtime to be 30 minutes per player. So if me and my buddy we decided that him and I would kind of start a campaign. And the cool thing is it's meant to be played where if you wanted to add a player later on, you could.
So drop out multiplayer.
You could drop them in, yep, and say, okay, we're level 3, so you're level 3.
That's cool.
Sure, you might not have all your perks because like you'll get different goals that allow you to make check marks, and you'll gain perks that kind of modify your character and make them stronger and get new equipment. So you're not quite going to be as strong as maybe the party that's been playing, but you can kind of drop in and just get right in the fight that way.
That's really cool. That sounds super fun.
It's super fun. And yeah, I thought it was pretty easy. And it does some nice things that kind of mitigate the feel bad moments of certain like games, maybe any game involving dice, because we all know when you roll a die, like you're at the mercy of odds. And I think what a lot of games have been doing lately, and this game does this, is using cards to modify rather than dice, because dice are very random, right? You roll a 20-sided die, you can in theory roll a 1 every time. What card modification is done in a lot of games is they'll say, okay, your average attack is 3, and you're going to draw a card that modifies it plus or minus 1, could be times 2, it could be a miss, right? So this is, it allows you to control the odds better than a die can.
Sure.
And that, I think that helps you play a game and not have as many feel bad moments for players that are more casual, because some people like that. Some people like the dice to determine what happens, and like they like that outcome. But if you're not ready for that, it can create some really bad moments when you roll that critical miss at a crucial point in the game, and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
And this game can simulate that without being completely at the mercy of dice on occasion. And it has a couple interesting mechanics I'm not going to go too into, but it does some really interesting things that I haven't really experienced in a game, because you do play cards to do things rather than just doing actions. So you have certain actions that are on your cards. It's a really cool game.
I mean, and the reality, too, is if you got 4 people that were interested in playing it, that makes that game like $35 a person.
Right. And that's kind of how it is, because it's a big experience, and it's meant to be. I assume if you play through the whole campaign, you're probably not going to do it again, just because it's a huge undertaking. We played the first 2 missions, and then we returned to the city, did a city event and a road event, because when you move from place to place, you like draw a road event card, and it simulates your travel. And then when you're in the city, you can do a city event, which might say the guy asks for help. Do you help him or not? So if you help him, something happens. If you don't, something else happens. So you don't necessarily play a mission every time, but you have like a choose your own adventure thing, and it says you gain 10 experience and get 5 gold because you chose to help him. Or you chose to fight the wolves, so now you go into the next mission with -3 health.
That's really fun.
It kind of helps simulate a lot of those things and plays a very large campaign in smaller amount of time.
One more time, what was it called?
Gloomhaven.
Gloomhaven. Cool. I'll add a link to that in the show notes.
Yep.
That sounds really cool. Nice. Is that what you've been playing this week?
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to get that going, and we played it for a couple hours, and it was
really
a lot of fun.
Do you just leave it set up now?
It's kind of set up because luckily there's a giant table in the kitchen, and it accommodates like all the pieces set out nicely. There is like there's this cool company called like Broken Token,
Sure.
and they make organizers for board games, and they're made of like thin, I'm guessing like a balsa wood. I actually haven't picked one up for any game yet, because I not many games do you feel like you need this third-party organization tool. That one might be one of them. It's like $100 because it's like all finely cut wood that you put in the box, and it has different, it probably has like 6 levels, but it also organizes everything, and it has a home for every piece. Like every little deck of cards, every token has its own home, so it's all organized when you put it back in the box and take it out.
That's cool.
That might be something that's totally worth it, even though it's rather spendy, but the amount of time you would save sifting through things is probably worth it.
That's really cool. Well, this week, let's see, I've been playing quite a few things, actually. I've been playing Hellblade for our Bite Me DLC Plays.
Sounds like a lot of people
podcast.
are playing it.
Yeah. I know I'm playing it. I know that my brother's playing it. I know there's a handful of other people that are. So we're targeting getting that done by kind of, I think, the middle of next month. Depending on if Adam is going to be on it or not, we might do it a little earlier, a little later. I need to kind of refigure out the dates now that I know he's involved and on vacation. But I kind of want to get that done before I go on vacation, if possible. So we're thinking maybe like the weekend of the 11th. So if you're playing along with us, try and hit it by there. I have a lot of things to say about Hellblade, to be frank, but I'm not going to say them now. You'll have to,
because there's a podcast for that.
You'll have to wait. One super cool thing we did this weekend is we played Rocket League Crossplay. So for the first time ever in all of my Rocket League career, I was able to get in a private server with people on PC and PlayStation and Xbox, and we were all able to play a game together, and it was 100% seamless, and it was super easy. It was absolutely no different at all than just playing with just Xbox people or just PC people. And it was absolutely awesome to be able to finally, get in on that and play together.
You still have to do like the private match. So you
right
still
now,
had to create a lobby, but
yeah. Right now there is not matchmaking between those. So I can't do a 3-on-3 with someone on PC and PlayStation. That's coming after the Rocket ID update, I believe, which is supposed to come out soon-ish. I think they said this spring. So hopefully that comes soon, because then we'll be able to do even more. Another interesting game that I found out has crossplay yesterday is, everyone knows that Fortnite has crossplay between PlayStation and Xbox and PC, but I didn't realize that Save the World also has crossplay. So if you've been kind of holding off on Save the World, it still costs $40, I think, but you can play.
I still have codes.
You still have codes. So
I know people have hit me up for them, but we've never actually gotten to play it, so I didn't necessarily send them to them. But
so that would be a kind of a cool thing to be able to play now with folks on PC and Xbox and PlayStation together.
Yeah. It's definitely a game that would be more fun if you had a couple people to play it with.
Yeah.
Like, I played it quite a bit by myself, and it was fun. But it would be a lot of fun with a group of people.
It seemed like a really cool game, and when we played it, or I didn't actually get to play it, I watched you guys play it at PAX 2 years ago, and it looked really fun. It looked like it had a lot of promise.
It's honestly probably more fun than Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing, it's just not so competitive. It's like...
Yeah, I don't understand why they haven't made it free to play yet. Like, there's no reason that they haven't. Except that Fortnite's printing money. Which to me, though, is even a better reason.
Yeah, just make it free to play.
I hear they've ripped out a lot of the kind of microtransactions and stuff that made it kind of icky at first, though. So that's
I should probably check it out. I haven't played it for quite a while.
I hear it's very different now. The other game that I'm playing that I hope gets crossplay really soon is Anthem. I got in on the VIP beta this weekend, and I did not play it for very long. Excuse me, I had to wait for my brother to finish downloading it. And so we only maybe played for, I'm going to say 45 minutes. My brother and I and Kevin played the first kind of mission and completed it. And it's really good. I mean, the VIP preview had a lot of problems. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think anyone on the Xbox was able to connect on Friday. Tons of connection problems on Friday, and even once people were able to get in, they were experiencing, like, Adam was able to get in, but experienced horrible rubber banding and all sorts of other stuff. They say it's going to be fixed by the open beta this weekend, so I guess we'll see. But when we were able to finally get in, that game is so amazing to play. Like, all three of us finished. We're like literally almost in unison. We're like, well, I'm going to be pre-purchasing that game, because I've never played a game with flight in it where you're a character that felt
good.
Well, but not. The funny thing is it felt both, like, when you were doing well, when you were flying and doing it right, you feel like Iron Man. I mean, you legit feel like Iron Man. But you know how every once in a while Iron Man in the movie will get shot by something, and all of a sudden his thrusters are kind of misfiring?
Yeah.
When you're doing it badly, you feel just like that. Like, oh shoot, I flew up straight into a bridge, or man, I crashed inside the wall. But man, there were a couple times where, I'm flying and I'm like, I need to land on that ledge, and so you'd power up and then cut your rockets and just land perfectly, and it was sweet. The flight in that game, I can't wait to see people play Anthem, streaming it at a high level, because I think it's going to be like watching an amazing dogfight happen.
There's going to be a cool ceiling to
There's going to be a really cool skill ceiling. I'm never going to hit that ceiling, but it was so fun. And the guns feel terrific. The guns, I think Destiny has some of the best gun feel in a game. and the guns in this might feel better. You open the game as one of the ranger class, and I had like a machine gun, and then you have a grenade, and then you have like a wrist rocket, very Iron Man-esque as well. And like the machine gun feels great. It's got like a good like chugga 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 feel to it. And like the wrist rocket is heat seeking, so there's like these mechanical wyverns that fly around, and you'd see one and you target it, and like I remember distinctly that I saw one, I shot my rocket at it, and it flew behind like this cliff face, and your rockets do the kind of like it doesn't look like a super like perfect rocket. It does that kind of like where it kind of jiggles around in the air and turns the corner and just I could see the explosion happen behind the cliff, and the wyvern fell out of the sky. It was really cool. When that game fires, it really works. And I think it's going to, just by the virtue of the game and how it's set up, have a lot of those really cool like hell yeah moments that you did a lot in Destiny, where you were playing and did something really cool. I think you're going to see that a lot in that game. Probably the biggest difference, I mean, and there's absolutely no way you can't compare it to Destiny 2. It's very similar. Probably the biggest difference is that where Destiny tends to be, it's not really a cover-based shooter, but it's a game that provides a lot of things for you to get behind.
Right. You do find yourself behind stuff
Cover
often to kind of...
This game doesn't have a lot of cover, because I think what it expects you to do is, instead of get behind cover, it expects you to fly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be really hard to get out of that mindset of like, I have to run over there, or I have to, flank this dude behind cover, or, oh my gosh, I'm getting shot at, I need to, get behind cover, as opposed to, no, I just need to get in the air and use my aerial advantage to take out these things that are on the ground. So it was really fun. Like I said, I only played maybe 45 minutes. I'm really excited to get some more time to play it this weekend, but it was a very good time. So I think that's all I played this week. It seems like there's one other game, but it's not coming out. So we will move on. Before we continue, though, I would like to take a chance this exact moment to thank our Patreons. You can support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. We do have different scales, though. They get you different things, up to and including a $10 a month pledge that makes it so I read your name in this really scratchy, sick-sounding voice, which I think is worth at least $10. And so I will do that right now. So big thanks to Alan Schulte, who I think actually came and played with us on Rocket League a little bit. It was nice to have him join. And then Austin Palmer, Jack Irish, Jacob Frank, Joel Cole Jr., who was able to join us in Rocket League for the first time because he's a PlayStation player. We've been waiting for that forever. So it was great to have him along, Kevin Schultz, who also played with us, and Tom McDermott. So, and don't let me forget Vinny Champa, the person who gives us a question.
The champ.
Every single week. Champa. Good man. So that is the Patreons. We greatly appreciate you if you'd like to go donate. You get these podcasts a little bit early. Like today, we are recording at Tuesday at noon. If you are
in lieu of lunch.
In lieu of lunch, I am skipping lunch to bring you this podcast.
I'm getting lunch after.
I can barely breathe or talk, and I'm recording this podcast on a Tuesday. So folks will get it today. It's about a day and a half early. So, but some of our other ones you get up to 7 days early. So it's very exciting. Thank you again to all of our wonderful Patreons. Next up, we have
news.
Excellent. There is a lot of news this week too. Like I had to pare down the news because I just didn't think we'd have time to talk about it. So first up, interesting statistics, which I am a data nerd, so this was an interesting statistic to me. Xbox, I'm also dying. Xbox backwards compatibility now has over 500 games that you can play on your Xbox One, which is roughly 25% of the entire Xbox 360 library.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Also, the interesting thing is that that means that so the total count is 538 total titles. Over half of those are Xbox Live Arcade games, which means that almost 40% of the entire Xbox Live Arcade library is now backwards compatible. So there's just a ton of games you can play. They're up to 33 original Xbox games that are backwards compatible, which is crazy. Like I remember hearing about like 3 of those. I don't know when the rest dropped, but there's just a ton of games you can play. And I think that Microsoft is pretty committed to keeping that library whole from here forward. So like I don't think you're ever going to have to do like, You know, where's the Nintendo eShop because I need to rebuy Mario for the 45th time.
Yeah.
It's just you bought those titles once. You know, I mean, for original Xbox games, that could have been, even at this point, 15 or 16 years ago. And they're just yours forever. It's a commitment that Xbox is making that I think is very good.
Yeah, it's just nice. Like, you should, like, if you buy a game, you should be able to play it and not have to have your old system like hooked up in the corner, like because they want you to buy the new one, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna buy the new one, let me keep my old stuff.
And it's just, you know, the thing is these days any of these systems is powerful enough to emulate a system from 2000. So it's just great that they're doing it. You know, I don't play 360 games a lot, but I've done it more than I thought I would. It's been cool to kind of go out and finish some games that I probably wouldn't have finished otherwise. It's fun to go play every once in a while. Like I played Bastion, Xbox 360 backwards, and it's just cool to be able to go out and actually do that. So that's a pretty big milestone, hitting that 500 mark and also that quarter percentage of all the games. It's crazy to think there was over 2,000 Xbox 360 games. You know, I think that's like, I'm gonna say 4 times as many games as there were like NES and SNES era. It seems like most of those were like 400, 500, 600 total. So it's a lot. Speaking of games that I've been waiting 15 or 16 years to play, Kingdom Hearts 3 releases actually today, the 29th.
It's out.
So
it actually happened.
I'm a little worried because I made a kind of dumb mistake and bought it physical. Because I wanted to get the Amazon discount. You can still get that $10 discount, but I forgot that you can actually get that on digital copies too, and I didn't. So
I don't know if I remembered that.
It was just a dumb mistake that I made. So yesterday when I checked, it told me it would be at my house today by 8 p.m. And then when I checked this morning, it said would be to my house today by 11 p.m. I'm a little bit worried that I'm not going to have Kingdom Hearts today, but we'll see. But if you're like me and you haven't played, I played Kingdom Hearts 1 and I beat it, but that was like 17 years ago. And then I played Kingdom Hearts 2 and never actually beat it. I got like 3/4 of the way through the game because that was back in the day when I didn't finish things. And never played 2.8, never played any of the bajillion of other wackadoo Kingdom Hearts games. So I don't know what the plot is anymore. And a lot of people have been asking, you know, what's the best way to catch up? You know, where can I go? What's the best resource? And the super good news is the answer to that question is all you have to do is buy Kingdom Hearts 3. Not on the disc, actually. It's part of the like day one update. There's a thing called the Kingdom Hearts Memory Archive, and that is literally a like 20-minute movie that will tell you everything you need to know plot-wise about what happened in the game. And if you're listening right now and you're like at work and you want to know that before you get home, you can actually watch those on YouTube too. If you just search for Kingdom Hearts Memory Archive, it's a 5-part video series on YouTube that you can watch. They're like 3-4 minutes each. I watched it last night and I feel okay about the story now. I'm hoping Kingdom Hearts 3 like does that, kind of like serial TV drama where it's going to show me what happened a little bit.
Yeah.
But at least remind me who the characters are and so on and so forth. And
yeah.
I mean, I think it's important to know what the plot is, but the plot of Kingdom Hearts is also really wacky and dense. So you probably just start playing. You'd probably be fine. Like, I bet you could just go into Kingdom Hearts 3 and just play it.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
So,
like,
anyway, I'm very excited to start playing that tonight. My wife is also very excited, which is not something I get to say ever. So I'm excited to play it. I'm excited to play it with someone who actually is excited to play it with me, as opposed to every other game that exists. So that is cool. While we are talking about Kingdom Hearts, we've started to hear this a lot, kind of disappointingly, where a company will do pre-orders for something and let people think they've gotten this something and then just start canceling them. And it's happened more than once now. I know it happened with, it seems like Xbox Scorpios, maybe. But I know it happened with some of the, like the Nintendo SNES mini consoles, where retailers are just like, I don't know if they're just guessing how many they're going to get or what, but a lot of people bought the special edition Kingdom Hearts 3 PS4s, which are really slick looking too. They're gorgeous consoles, and it was, I believe, a GameStop exclusive, and they claim that they have unforeseen issues, which, as the article I'm reading on Polygon said, that I think that just equals like, hey, we pre-ordered too many of them, sorry, and they're just canceling them, and they're canceling them like starting like late last week and early this week, which is crappy because that should be coming today. Like, you pre-ordered those weeks and months ago, and then you're excited about it. Oh, you don't get one, and they're just canceling them and giving you a $25 credit for your trouble. Which, I buy a console at GameStop and it gets canceled. I'm disappointed. Like that's frustrating to me. Like, I pre-buy a GameStop, or I buy a Kingdom Hearts 3 Special Edition console for my 10-year-old. Like, that's a different thing, and it's crappy. You should not have to explain to anyone that their pre-order got canceled because GameStop sold too many.
Just because.
So, hopefully, I guess two things. Like, I don't think GameStop's going to be a store in 2 years, so maybe that doesn't matter. But hopefully they can figure this out. I mean, like, when you buy concert tickets, how often do you hear about a concert getting oversold?
Yeah.
Like, there's ways to figure this out. There are ways to, flat out, if you don't have a number that you're getting inventory wise,
don't take orders.
Then don't take orders for it. If Sony was the one that said, hey, you can have 100 and they only give you 50, then pass the buck to Sony.
Yeah, and say Sony said we had this many and we didn't. So
let us at least get mad at the right person. So anyway, that's crappy. Other crappy things. Metroid 4 has been something that I think people have been talking about for about 2 years now. I think it got announced at the Game Awards 2 years ago in a very like, hey, we have a logo kind of way. Not much more.
The ultimate tease trailer.
Right, yeah.
It's literally the title.
Yeah. So and it was Metroid Prime 4. And people are, I think, rightfully excited about this. I think that people like the Prime series more than they do the what's the first-person shootery Metroid called? Yeah, that's exactly it.
I don't know. I liked it, though.
Yeah, I think some people did, some people didn't. But I think people were really excited about Metroid Prime 4 coming out. And unfortunately, Nintendo said it wasn't coming along very well. So they canceled it and took it away from the developers who were making it and gave it over to Retro Studios, who actually, I believe, they have a history making Metroid games. I don't know if it was they made the first ones, but at very least have a history of doing it. So, whereas we might have gotten Metroid Prime 4, this year, next year, my guess is it's like 2021 maybe now, 2022. So hopefully you didn't want Metroid Prime too much, or hopefully you didn't do something silly like buy a Switch for Metroid.
Yeah.
The thing that I think was most interesting about this, and I don't remember, we talked a little bit about Star Wars getting canceled last week, right?
Yeah.
And that was like an uproar. People were up in arms. And essentially they said the same thing. Hey, we don't like this how it's going. We're going to take it from here. We're going to redirect it to another studio and let them build something that, we think is going to be better. It's not going to be as open world. It's going to be more limited. So, whatever. We didn't like how it's going, so we're canceling it and moving it to another studio. And everyone flipped. Like, people were so angry and so mad and just like, I can't believe EA is doing this. We should take the license away from them. And, rah, 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 EA. Nintendo
pitchforks.
Literally did the exact same thing. We're canceling a game, we're moving it to another studio, and they'll make another game that we'll be happier with. And everyone's like, oh man, Nintendo handled that so well. I cannot thank Uncle Nintendo
for real
anymore. And I'm like,
it's just because EA is the bad guy.
Corporations aren't your friends, people.
But EA is the big bad guy, right? That's just how people interpret it. So they're going to get mad at EA, and Nintendo's not. They're just not that.
It's so ridiculous. Like, EA is
big scary guy.
A company, and they're not the worst company in the world. Like, every year EA wins the like worst company in the world thing. I'm like, man, in a world where like
I'm sure there's
Exxon Valdez and Wells Fargo and like in a world where there are just companies that are just outright screwing people, and taking their money. EA is fine. They cancel a game every now and again, and occasionally screw up a release. Like, it's fine. They're the biggest video game company outside of like the big three in the world. You just have to accept the fact that sometimes they're going to do stupid stuff. But this wasn't one of those times. So
see, I'm also the person I think I learned a long time ago. If a game isn't going the right way, I'd rather have the game that comes out 2 or 15 years later.
You don't want it.
Because you don't want that game that they were going to put out. It's the first time this happened to me was GTA San Andreas, and I was like 15 when this came out, and they kept pushing it back, and I was so sad because I saved up my money, I went and paid in full at GameStop, and it kept getting delayed, right? But you play it, and you're like, that was a good game. And I think the same thing happened with GTA 4, too. It's like, you let them delay the game.
Well, the same thing happened with GTA 5, and the same thing happened with Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
And look at what we got.
Yeah,
and
you're never going to be unhappy when you actually play that game.
Yeah, well, and one of the things that I have not actually played it yet, but I hopefully will be playing it soon, is Crackdown. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing the first Crackdown, I think, was supposed to come out like almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing I want to say Game Awards demo of Crackdown like 2 years ago, or maybe the E3 demo, and just going like, oh, yeah, that game does not look good. That game looks bad. And it got delayed, and I think it got delayed at least once more, maybe twice more, and it's finally coming out. And like, I don't know if I put these in the show notes. It's actually coming out early. It was supposed to come out like middle of next month, and I'm not going to say leaked it today, but just kind of like randomly tossed it out there that it's going to be out February 1st. So
that's real soon.
Pulled forward a little bit. And it looks fun. It looks good. It looks goofy.
I love that series, so I'm very excited.
Like, I'm really excited to play it. And I think that the gameplay and the videos I've seen of it lately look so much better than the videos I saw of it 2 years ago when it was supposed to come out. So, it's a bummer when stuff you love doesn't come out. And I mean, should EA and Disney have a higher rate of output for Star Wars games? Yeah, we're 6 years into a 10-year contract. You should have released more than 2 games. Yeah. But I mean, I think the other thing that people aren't realizing is that, like, this may not be EA either. Like, I don't mean to make this Metroid conversation about EA, but like, Disney is apparently incredibly difficult to work with from a development standpoint. They protect that IP, and so it means that literally every single thing you do. I don't remember if it was something I read or just a joke that somebody made, but they're like, we're going to make this character left-handed, and like it has to go through like 3 rounds of meetings to find out if you can make this character left-handed. So can you imagine making a video game that way? Right. It's got to be pretty terrible. So I don't know. So good on Nintendo for pushing Metroid 4 to make it a better game, but good on EA for canceling an open world EA game that might have sucked. Yeah. So we'll see. We will see. All right. So have you ever worked on a farm, Dylan?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Close enough.
Not an animal farm, but
yeah, but like a farm that raises things.
Yeah, plants.
Have you ever wanted to do that in a video game?
I mean, I guess technically, right? Not like full simulator, but I mean like games like Animal Crossing or what's the one?
Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley, yeah. So I mean, to a degree.
So for $250,000, would you like to simulate farming?
No, I'm still not going to do it.
So this is maybe the wackiest thing I've ever heard, and it just proves to me that like anything can be an esport now. Farming Simulator 2018 they've started the Farming Simulator League, and it will include up to 10 events, including a 3v3 competition in a new mode. I cannot wait to see 6 people, I guess. So it's 3v3, so that's got to be like 3 farmer co-op. Yeah. Like one person's out on the tractor, one person's. I've never played this game, so I can't even pretend to guess. Do you think there's like raising chickens, or is it all farming? I don't have any idea how this works, but
I'm kind of interested.
They're going to make a competition, and I kind of want to watch like a Twitch stream of
I definitely want to see what
farming.
I didn't realize there was a competitive umbrella to that.
I would not have thought so either. But apparently, I mean, do you think it's based on I didn't.
I'm gonna Zen better than you.
I literally did not look into this at all because I think
just reading that was enough.
It was absolutely enough. But I will say too, for the people that are into this stuff, like, good on you. Like, finding it's like folks that do like American Truck Simulator. Like, I don't have
Find that community.
I don't have any urge to do it, but people that love that, if that's the game you love, like high five, man, because I'm just glad that you found a niche that you love and you want to dedicate time to. And it looks like the farming simulator folk are actually going to be like, get a little bit of monetary incentivization to to farm better, faster, make more money. Like I said, I don't know. It's measured in how much
really
corn
curious.
you produce.
I kind of want to see how this goes.
Yeah, I apparently it's been something that people have been doing for a while. This is just the esport, branch of it. So we'll try and keep an eye on this and see how it goes, because I kind of want to keep. I want to keep this in the fore. I'm actually slightly more interested in competitive farm simulator than I am in the Overwatch League. Like, I watch Overwatch League, it's cool, but it happens too fast. I watch League of Legends and that, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. But farming simulator seems like something that would be the correct pace for me to understand on a competitive level.
Look how much corn they're getting out.
Right? I love it.
I don't know.
Absolutely love it. All right, so you guys talked about, I presume, I was not here, but I think I did the show notes for that day, about the Assassin's Creed Odyssey DLC that kind of pissed people off. You can play that game as a canonically gay or lesbian character in that game, and then the DLC came along, and absolutely, regardless of what choice you made, they just made you straight.
Right.
And people were not happy about that. And I think it's obviously, because that opens a door for people that are not straight to come in and go hey, this is finally a game that represents me. And I think rightfully they find that a very important aspect of that game. I know I've heard some podcasts of people that was a big thing for them to be able to play that game as a character that represented them, and then to have that taken away is kind of crappy. And I'm just going to read straight from the quote that Ubisoft wrote. It says, "After hearing player feedback and discussing within the development team, we are making changes to a cutscene and some dialogue in Shadow Heritage to better reflect the nature of the relationship for players, selecting a non-romantic storyline. These changes, along with renaming a trophy achievement, are being made now and will be implemented in an upcoming patch." So they also say, "We've been carefully looking at the next episode, Bloodline, to ensure paths that players experience mirror the choices they make in game." So it sounds like they're going to fix it as much as they can, and hopefully recognize how powerful it is for people to have themselves represented in games, whether it's LGBTQ folk, or just being able to play as a woman in a game, being able to play as something that represents you. So it's a good step. It would be better if they hadn't screwed that up in the first place, but
Yeah, when Adam and I, we talked about this a little bit, and we both kind of were on the same page about it. It's we didn't find it to be a very big deal. It probably was something that kind of was an oversight more than they purposefully did this.
Oh, I'm 100% sure it was.
And it's good. They've come up with a good solution. But all it would have taken was if that was such an important plot point, there's other ways to get to that plot
100%.
point and explain the choices up to that point.
Yeah.
It could have been a different character is able to be inserted in, or maybe there's some reason that this child needs to be born, or whatever. There's a way to incorporate that in the storyline
without angering players,
without being completely illogical, right? Yeah. And that's ultimately the problem, is it doesn't fit within the context of how your game experiences was up until that point. Although ultimately that isn't really the problem.
I mean, probably honestly, the bigger problem of it is that video game development is very much a straight white thing. Those are the people that are predominantly game developers, especially at the AAA level, and so they just didn't think about it, and it's because it's a game mode that just doesn't affect them, and that's it's a problem because they didn't think about it, and it's probably a problem that there isn't anyone on their team that would have said whoa, hey, hang on just a second.
Well, if no one plays, if no one actually plays through the game and plays it that way, no one's ever going to notice either. They're never going to be oh, this story experience was this way, and now all of a sudden I have a child, and it doesn't make sense, right?
It's just strange that they would have been forward thinking enough to add it into the game, but not forward thinking enough to say what could be the outcome of
right,
this?
Exactly. And I'm sure that's probably there's probably plenty of games you can find a plot hole like that doesn't people don't care as strongly about, right? Like the plot holes like that exist all the time. It's just this one happens to hit people a little differently. So they a whole community speaks up and is like, "Hey, this doesn't make sense." And it's like, "Oh, okay, you're right. Well, we can."
And I mean, that's probably the really good outcome of this too, is that it's going to make developers going forward go like, aha, remember what happened to Ubisoft?
Right.
We should think about this. So, it's great that they're fixing it, and it's great that that maybe it'll make other developers, both big and small, think about all the possible paths in their game and inclusion.
And I think that's the trick is like when you have a choose your own adventure game, it's like there's a lot of other possibilities you have to look at, especially if you're creating storylines like that, where like if you're going to have different romance options, it's like that can
you got to think about
that has a big impact later on, depending if you have a big certain plot point that you need to hit. So make sure there's a way to inject that into the story if you have to do it a different way.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot to read through what our news was, like Adam usually does, because Adam's a better host than I am. And it's too bad because I made a really funny joke about PUBG being able to play on a potato now, but whatever, we lost that, so it's gone to
PUBG
time.
can play on a potato?
Yes. So PUBG, which I think is kind of notoriously unoptimized,
It's something like that.
I don't ever want to second guess developers and what they're doing, but PUBG has historically had a hard time running on a lot of systems. And I think it's getting better and better and better as time. But when that game was in beta, the game was rough. And it is better now. But the reality is there are still a lot of people that just don't have gaming rigs that want to play this game. And I mean, this game can play on a phone now, so you'd think that you'd be able to play it on a laptop. And what they're doing to address that is working on a game right now called PUBG Lite. It is free, and it is a low-spec version of PUBG that they're now in beta testing. So the cool thing about this is that the minimum system requirements is you need a Core i3 2.4 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM, and an Intel HD Graphics 4000 card, which should, in theory, allow that to play on almost any laptop
that's still running.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, I would be able to run that on my MacBook Air.
Yeah.
It doesn't support Mac, I don't believe. But if it did, the MacBook Air is not a gaming computer.
Yeah, it's meant to
at all
process words.
Yeah. And if there was an OS X version of this would be able to run on my MacBook Air, which is saying a lot. So this should run on literally almost any laptop they give you at work, any laptop that you've bought probably in the last 5 years, 6 years. You do not need a discrete graphics card, which is great. They recommend a little bit more. They recommend you have an i5. They recommend 8 gigs of RAM, and they really do recommend that you have at least a GTX 660 or Radeon HD 7870. But a GTX 660, that's an old graphics card. Old graphics cards. So it's kind of a cool idea. I like the idea of them trying something, and it appears to be just giving it away. It's standalone, so you can't play with people playing the high-spec version because I would guess there's
something different.
There's probably advantages and disadvantages to playing a low-spec version versus playing. I mean, it could just be too. Do you remember back in the day when PUBG first came out, where you could turn your graphics way down because then the grass wouldn't render? Yeah. So there's probably advantages and disadvantages. You probably want to keep those people in a separate playing pool. But I really like the idea that folks who may game casually, or folks who kids want to try things that they don't have a gaming PC but they do have a PC could finally get in and play a little bit of PUBG. I'd like to see other games do this more often. It's probably hard, it's probably expensive, but I like the idea of it. Anyway, I believe that is news.
That's everything?
That is all the news that was fit to news. Bless you.
Ay.
So we only had 2 questions this week, but that's okay. We got one from our good friend Joe Coleslaw, and as always, we got one
Vinny.
From Vinny.
Big old question.
It's like a paragraph.
Big old question.
This is actually a really good question because it actually ties in to a news item that I had that I took out because you asked a question about it. So, in recent news, it was announced that Metro Exodus, the newest Metro game coming out, I believe the same day Anthem is, February 22nd, is taking down pre-orders off Steam and moving over to become an exclusive game being sold on the Epic Game Store. It seems like there was another game we talked about doing this like a week or two ago. They're still going to honor pre-orders on Steam. So if you bought it on Steam, you will still get a Steam key. They're just not taking any more as of, I think, yesterday. The part where it's interesting is that on the Steam Game Store, the game was priced at $60, and on the Epic Game Store, they're only selling it for $50. And Vinny raises the supposition that it's because that they don't have to pay that 30% tax, so they can actually lower the game. They can lower the game 10%. It's $10 off. So what is that? Like a little more than 10%, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, they can lower it $10 and still make more profit than they would make selling it on Steam.
Right.
Which is interesting. And so he asked overall what our thoughts on this, and do you see any other games following this trend? And does Steam need to respond to Epic's actions? And so, off the cuff, right now, Steam's take was literally to come out yesterday and issue a press release that said, "Hey guys, this really isn't very fair."
Good one.
People were expecting to be able to purchase this game on Steam and were excited to be able to purchase on Steam and did not pre-purchase it. So they weren't that excited, but they wanted to be able to buy it on Steam. And that's not fair that you did this. And okay, that's fine.
They're not wrong.
They're absolutely not wrong.
I think the thing is, at some point, it's a competition, right? You need to, if you want people to purchase on your platform, you need to offer them equal to or better, right?
Yeah. And I like the idea of introducing competition into this marketplace. I kind of wish it wasn't two multi-billion-dollar companies bringing that competition. I would like to see something else, some other option that wasn't just two billionaire heavyweights fighting it out. But it's something anyway. Oh, my Amazon package was just delivered full of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Ooh.
Anyway, I think we're going to see this more. I don't know if you'll see that $50 price point more.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to start to see a lot of stuff go over the Epic Store. And they really haven't even been, they've got stuff over there, but it's not like a full featured store yet. They're kind of going a little slow. So are we going to see more of this? Absolutely. Are we going to see more Epic exclusives? Absolutely. Is Steam going to respond to this? Maybe.
Yeah.
They
just have such a big share already that I think I can't imagine a world where they're just someone is going to take so much from them at one time that it actually impacts them.
And I think that's the thing is this is, even though Epic has a lot of money right now, this is still kind of a David Goliath kind of story. If you looked at, Josh actually sent me a list of Steam rankings for the games that made the most revenue on Steam last year. And if you looked at it, even though, what's their MOBA? Which one is theirs?
Dota.
Yeah. Even though Dota is free to play, even though Counter-Strike is free to play, even though Hearthstone is free to play, those still all were top rankers by revenue on the Steam store. So even though you don't hear about them doing Fortnite kind of stuff, they're still making a crap ton of money off video games. Mm-hmm. So, do they need to maybe play a little better, with the revenue they share with their people? Yeah, probably. But I would almost rather not see Steam compete that way because we don't gain anything off of Steam competing just by lowering their price to developers. It means that they'll just sell on Steam instead.
Yeah.
I would way rather see Steam compete by feature.
Yeah.
Make the store better. Make the store easier to manage. Make the store easier to find the things that you want. I don't know a ton of details about it, but at the end of last year, Steam redid their algorithm. And indie developers on Steam are seeing their sales plummet, 25, 50% plummets. There are people writing articles saying that, Steam could kill off indies. Indies are doing really well right now, and we are seeing these awesome games coming out of indie studios. And they're Steam, with these algorithm changes, could literally kill off indie studios. I would way rather see Steam compete by feature, compete by those kind of things, then Steam go, oh, well, hey, we'll give you 12% too. Like, you know, that does a lot of things for developers, and that's great. Like, I love to see developers make more money. I love to see developers be able to make bigger and better games. I love to be able to see them pay their employees. I'd love to see them be able to crunch less because they're making more revenue, all those kind of things. But them competing on the price that they give developers doesn't do anything to make Steam better. And it just means that you'll have eventually two big bloated stores that don't help, you know, people out at all. So I don't know. We'll see. You have thoughts?
Yeah. It just seems like no one is going to change their behavior. Very few people are going to jump ship. So yeah, I mean, having a quality of life change is probably going to be more effective for them. They're not going to lose that much business because people aren't going to just like start buying everything on the Epic Store, or to say, who's to say that there's going to be everything available. So,
well, right now there's not a lot available.
Right. So
I don't know. I think if they really, really, really want things to change, you're going to have to see a player like Microsoft or Google or Apple come into the PC retail business, which I mean easily could happen. So we'll see. We will see. Joe Coleslaw wants to know, with the added success of both Fortnite and now Rocket League, with all the way around crossplay, what games would you like to see added to the list? And he did say that we could not use the phrase all of them, which is disappointing, but understandable. For him, he would like to shout out Paladins, which is a game I'd never heard of, and Overwatch.
I think Overwatch is one of the no-brainer. Like, this game does need to be... It's on that level of, like, popularity where this game just needs to be cross-play enabled.
And to me, like, Overwatch is, like, the easy, low-hanging fruit, but Overwatch has so many players in it, it almost doesn't matter. Like,
except I can't play with my friends because they have PS4s. Like, it's the same problem with Rocket League. It was the same problem with Rocket League. It's like, it's that same problem as, like, Joe and I can't play together.
I totally get that, and I would guess that games like Overwatch and Anthem and Destiny and those top tier multiplayer, you know, experiences are where you're going to see crossplay come in initially, but they're probably like the ones that need it the less. Like if you look at it from a like how it inconveniences me standpoint, 100%, yeah. Like I want Anthem to be crossplay because I want to be able to play it with both Vinny and Adam, and they're both probably getting it on different systems than I am.
Right.
And that sucks. Or I just want them to all be, you know, you know, all your stuff, you know, goes
cross progression.
Yeah, cross progression. Because, you know, it would make it so I could, I mean, frankly, even if I could get cross progression without cross play, it would make it easier for some things. Like I could play Destiny with other people if I had cross progression. But like, to me, it's almost like that tier right below those that could probably use it the most.
Yeah, they need a better player base.
Yeah, like the Sieges and the, even some of those like big indie multiplayer games, or the For Honors, or the Friday the 13th, or the, you know, those that have a healthy player base and have a healthy player base on all three systems, but could really use one big healthy player base. So, you know, do I want Overwatch to get crossplay? Of course I do. Like, that'd be fantastic. And I think that that's where you're going to see it first. But I think it's going to be the place where it's least impactful to the way video games are made. So, I mean, I think the bonus of cross-play is that if a developer looks at it and says, like, hey, I think we can make this game and we can make it multiplayer, and then they go like, but I don't know, can we sustain 3 entirely separate player bases? And then go, nah, we just shouldn't take the risk. Like, maybe now they'll be able to take that risk and make some cool games. So we will see. I think that was all the questions we got this week. We're actually recording a little earlier than we normally do, so we maybe didn't give y'all a chance to get in, but sorry, there's always next week. Cheap free games. We hung out just long enough to get games with gold. So we do have that. My guess is that PlayStation Plus games, like, they don't actually come out until February 5th, I don't think.
Yeah.
So they may, I mean, hopefully they're released by the time we do it next week.
Yeah.
All right, so games with gold this month from Xbox. We have, what is the name of this game? It's way too, I want to play this game, but I don't remember what it's called. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which is that kind of indie Castlevania game, as I recall. It's relatively new. It seems like that only came out maybe 6 or 8 months ago, I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
That's available February 1st to the 28th. I really, really, really want to play that. I've heard nothing but great things about it. So I believe it's just like kind of a modern Metroidvania, but with kind of an old school Castlevania feel. So that's good. And then also on the Xbox One, we have Super Bomberman R, which I haven't played, and I know the Bomberman games are
Yeah,
fun.
I like Bomberman.
Is this the thing that's on the Switch right now?
I think it is.
Yeah, and it got okay reviews.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's
probably
a
lot of fun.
level-based Bomberman game, so it's
It's probably fun co-op.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's free. So February 16th to March 15th on that one. Then we're also getting Assassin's Creed Rogue, which is a backwards compatible game from the 360. And then interesting here is actually an Xbox game, Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, which is an OG Xbox game that will be out the 16th through the 28th. It seems like I played that like way back in the day, like long enough ago that I don't remember it. So
Yeah, I remember seeing that game, but I don't.
The Jedi Knight games were fun, though. So, I mean, if you can get past the, kind of boxy graphics, that might be a game to check out. I mean, again, it's free-ish. So that is what we are seeing on Xbox Games with Gold. Next month, we kind of were talking about trying to figure out what we wanted to do for Byte Me DLC plays for March. And we're going to kind of wait for this to come out. I don't know if any of those pass muster. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus this month. Next up, we have the Indie PlayStation 2019 bundle from Humble Bundle, which is a relatively rare bundle on Humble
Bumble.
where you can get PlayStation games on Humble, which is great. This is got a lot of good games in it. So at the $1 price point, you can get Grim Fandango Remastered, which is a remaster of the LucasArts games from the 90s. It's good. It's not great. It's good. You can also get Bard's Tale, the remastered edition, which I've also heard is okay, and Inner Space, which I am not familiar with. Have you ever heard of that? Nope. But if you're willing to pay the average, which is currently $9.25, you can get Layers of Fear, which is probably my very favorite horror game ever. You can get Wasteland 2, which I have not played, but I heard is spectacular. You can get The Talos Principle, which I've also heard is really good, and you can get Broken Age, which I own and have never played. But it's a good point-and-click adventure game that's a lot of fun from Double Fine. And then if you are willing to pay the $15 level, you can get Killing Floor 2, which I have also not played, but I've also heard is good, and Shadow Warrior 2, which I own but have never played. So it's overall a pretty good package to be able to get. How many is that? 3, 7, 9 different PlayStation games for under $15, and like these bundles with PlayStation are super rare. So as a reminder, we are a Humble Bundle partner, so you can go to bytemepodcast.com/humble, and if you buy this bundle, we'll get a little bit of kickback, and that makes Cliff happy. Does it make you happy too?
Almost humble.
You're humbled by people's
humbled.
donation to our cause. So speaking of the Epic Games Store, they are pushing out a free game once every 2 weeks. Currently, I believe it is the first edition of the Jackbox set, which is real fun. If you have not grabbed that for free yet, you should really very, very much do that. That's available until February 7th. So it expires on February 7th. And then the next game is Axiom Verge, which is a really cool Metroidvania that I have not played, but I've heard absolutely great things about. So this will start being available February 6th. I really, really recommend if you pick that up, that you pick that up on PC. It's supposed to be just a really super solid, like kind of Metroidvania shooter, a little bit old school, a little bit pixel arty. But I've heard nothing but good things about it. So that is what you should get on the Epic Store. And so one final thing, and I feel kind of bad. We're going to do we're going to do a Small Bytes. We had some guys drop into Discord. Let's see, Sloth Heart Chunk, I believe is how you say his name, and Stony419. And they came in and they had just listened to episode 113. They just found us that day and they're like, "Hey, do you guys ever play mobile games?" I'm like, "Yeah, sometimes." And they're like, "You need to play Smashing 4." I'm like, "I will 100% play Smashing 4 so we can talk about it on the podcast." I downloaded it and never played it. So I will say today, I will play it before next week. They spoke very, very, very highly of it and would like anyone who is interested in playing Smashing 4 to go download it and then join their clan. They are Clan Goonies 2. And apparently they love playing this game. They're actually, I believe, ranked in the top 10 in clans in Smashing 4, which I know nothing about except that it's installed on my iPhone right now. So
I'm installing it now too. So
Dylan is installing right. I believe it is multiplayer,
well.
so maybe we can play it together.
Yeah.
We'll get Adam to play. We'll play 3-on-3. It'll be great. I think there you have to have 4. We'll figure something out. We'll get someone else to play with.
It'll be smashing.
It'll be smashing. So Smashing 4 for iOS and Android. Go check it out. Tell us what you think, and then go join Clan Goonies 2. They're always looking for new people to play Smashing 4, this mobile game with them. So I think that is all the talking my voice can handle if I'm going to do any work for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm absolutely
That's
done.
it.
That's it.
Do we have anything else to say?
You should, yeah, we actually have some other stuff we have to say. You should go to bytemepodcast.com and see what we've posted there. You should go to Byte Me. Actually, I don't think that exists yet. Byte Me DLC. Look for it on iTunes. I will figure out how to make that a link somewhere. We did a first episode with some other games we were looking forward to. And then we also did a great Red Dead Redemption 2, me, Dylan, and my brother Colby. It was super fun. It's what kind of sparked us to do Byte Me DLC Plays. I think there's going to be a lot more stuff coming to that podcast. So if you don't subscribe, I recommend you do that. I'll get it up on the website somehow. I think if you go to bytemeqte.com, it'll take you there, oddly enough. You should follow us on Facebook. You should follow us on Twitter. And you should go to bytemepodcast.com/humble to see our Humble deals and bytemepodcast.com/discord to chat with us because we love chatting with folk. But I think that's all we have to say.
Yeah. Bye.